Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sport Show right here on Smash FM here on a lockdown Tuesday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's go across and continue our way across the WA in particular. Of course, last night we interviewed her teammate in Ebony Dawson. Of course, tonight, because we have another Ebony that's joined us right now to tell us a bit about the Premiership success for the Peel Thunder to make it back-to-back in season 2021, this time winning it at home at Mandurah against Swans Districts. And, of course, she joins us right now to tell us a bit about how it all went down at Mandurah. Thanks so much for joining us.
No, thanks for having me. Yeah, no, it was really good to have at home and have a home crowd, and being from the southwest and travelling up to Mandurah a lot for trainings and everything, I was able to have a lot of southwest girls come and watch, and it would be the same for all the other travellers. You know, they're able to have people from further down south to able to come watch, and I think the crowd was a lot bigger than a lot of us were actually expecting, but it was nice. You could feel the atmosphere, feel everyone upbeat, and what was even better for us was our reserves coming through with the win in the last few minutes as well.
I will get you to introduce yourself anyway, and what position you played on grand final day.
So I played in the midfield as a rover or as a defensive midfielder. Oh yeah, Ebony Bilcich from Peel Thunder.
What an amazing season it was. You know, you finished in the top two like you did the year before, went on the road again like you were the year before, and got the job done. And this time you got the job done in the second semi-final against Swans Districts to go straight through. But instead of having the normal 1 week off, you managed to get 2 weeks off due to, of course, the snap lockdown in the area.
Yeah.
I have to ask, and I asked the other Ebony this question last night, which I'm going to ask you as well. How difficult was it to navigate the 2 weeks? Normally you have the 1 week because you obviously earned it from winning the second semi-final. But how difficult was it to navigate 2 weeks?
Yeah, I found it difficult in the fact that we couldn't actually train as a group for definitely for the first week that we were meant to, you know, be rewarded for. And then I guess we were lucky enough that Mark decided to let training be lifted from the Friday night, so we're able to do something Saturday morning, but we still couldn't have everyone there because they would obviously had like work or little stuff like that. So the first week that we were meant to have was difficult because we couldn't be together, but the second week was probably difficult because it felt like we hadn't trained for so long when it was only the 1 week.
Did you felt that, you know, it sort of gave you a bit of a disadvantage considering that, you know, Swans won their prelim before the lockdown? Obviously they got the week break because of the snap lockdown. Did you felt that, you know, that you've got a bit of a disadvantage for the fact that you had two instead of and Swans had that extra week?
Yeah, I definitely felt it was unfortunate that we ended up having the 2 weeks, and it could have gone either way. It might not have worked as well for us, whereas it could have worked perfectly for Swans because they ended up getting that week off. So it's a bit of a hard one. You never know if that week off would have helped or if having those 2 weeks helped us in the end or not. But at the time, I was definitely not very happy because they got the extra week when we won the first final.
Now, the grand final day, very, very similar in the scoreline to last year's grand final as well, where you completely dominated last year's opponent in Subiaco. Obviously, this year you dominated Swan Districts. I guess, did it feel pretty similar?
I felt more nervous this time round, and I don't know whether because it was our home ground, you know, having, I guess, our own perceived pressure of having everyone that we know there, being at home, and then the feel of, you know, going back to back, whereas the year before we were from last to first. So, yeah, it was really good, but I think our first quarter definitely set us up for the game, going against the Breeze and being those 2 goals up while keeping them to a point. I think that really set us for the rest of the game.
I think I noticed, and I actually spoke to the other Ebony about this last night, and I'm going to get you to answer the same question as well, is that, and they don't really get much notice at all. And I know they didn't mention it at all or much at all in the coverage as well in the grand final, but your backline is absolutely rock solid, that 6 players that play in the backline. Tell us about the 6 players and especially how much they've held up at backline, because I think the 2 finals that you've versed against Swans, you limited to 4 goals combined, the 2 finals. How important has that been?
Well, it's been very important for us. Our backline has definitely, I think, gone under the radar for a lot of the season. Like, I don't think many coaches or many people realise how strong our backliners are. Our captain, Cassie, she's done an amazing job leading from the back line and setting us up, and even Demi Little, you know, her or Tanisha put on mainly their main goal scorers to try and shut them down early. Ebony, nicknamed Chippy, you know, we've kept her in the back line because she's just such a good, I guess, controlled person who can read the game really well. And Abby Barnden's just been tremendous down back. I think this year was her first year down in the back line, and she's just taken it in her stride and shut down a few of their players that we've needed her to as well.
Your leadership group were down in the back line. Obviously, your last 2 captains were also down there as well. How important is to have that leadership group, and especially your 2 now reigning captains that won the last 2 grand finals, down in that back line, and and especially to give his confidence through the midfield into the forward line?
Yeah, it's really great because they're able to just hold us together, and I think they keep us composed a lot of the time, and they set the example. And I think from the back line, you know, that's where obviously the opposition score, and if the goal's gone through, they don't drop their heads, they reset, ready to go, and keep the talk and keep us composed for the remainder of the game.
When did you feel the grand final was won and got the chance to just relax and enjoy the moment, especially with the crowd behind you?
I think I realised that we definitely won the game maybe in the last quarter at the 14-minute mark. We were up by, I think, maybe 2 goals, and we were with the Breeze, and I knew that we weren't going to let this go, and I was able to just, I mean, I was on field, so I didn't relax per se, but as soon as I came off with that quick rest, I stood there and I was like, yes, we've won it.
Now, how good was it to hear the sirens there at the David Gray's Arena there in Mandurah, and especially the community, the way the community came out in force, not just in the Mandurah area, but obviously, as you mentioned, down the southwest. How important was that premiership mean to the community, especially to have the grand final in Mandurah?
I think it meant a lot to the Mandurah community itself and to the lower southwest, because we're able to show off our talents to, like, young country girls, I guess even young country boys who might look up to us, and they were able to come and watch us play, and they know that they can make it to this level even if they are, you know, just starting off at the local area. They were able to come down and just watch us and seal the result.
Now, you mentioned, and I haven't forgotten about it yet, your reserves won the premiership earlier in the day. I guess how much of a motivation was that to have the reserves win it, and especially also doing it for the Rogers Cup girls who came 1 game short?
I think it really shows how much depth we have in our squad, because a lot of those girls rotated through our league team, and a few of them were unfortunate enough to just miss out due to matchups or other reasons. I personally felt less pressure when they won, because I was like, cool, we've got 1 out of 2. Now, like, I just need to go out and play. But I think it really encouraged us to push ourselves and try and make it 2 from 2.
Was it a relief?
Yeah, I think there was a little bit. I think a lot of people in the league, when we're getting warmed up, getting ready, we would try and not to think about the game because we had to think about ours, but we couldn't help wanting to watch and wanting to support because we trained with them for the whole season, great friends with everyone on that team, and we wanted to show our support. So for them to get the job done, I think really made everyone have a sigh of relief, relax and reset for our game.
I always ask this question when I have Premiership teams on the show. The first question I'm going to ask you is, obviously I can see you wearing your medal around your neck, which I'm going to get you to show to our viewers now.
Woo.
There it is. Now, the question I want to ask you, Ebony, is how long did you wear your medal around your neck for, and did you sleep with it?
Yes, I slept with it that night. I then wore it the next day. I wore it the Tuesday. I went to the awards and fortunately didn't wear it then because I didn't think it would be too polite, but I took it with me. I put it in my bag. Then I went back to reality and went to work on Thursday, and I made sure to wear it to work, and I showed everyone at work. And then I eventually took it off on the Friday. I finally took it off on the Friday.
Now, I've got to ask this question as well. Now, I know you're not supposed to do this during COVID times, but did you drink out of the cup or kiss the Premiership cup?
Yes, we did a couple of times say, oh, careful guys, COVID, but definitely drank out of the cup, definitely had a few kisses on the cup. Couldn't pass up the opportunity.
I'd love to know, how was the celebrations down at Mandurah after the game? Even though you didn't have to go too far this year.
I think it was a lot bigger because we didn't have to go too far. Everyone was able to just stay. And because the reserves won, like we said before, it was, I think the whole room was just packed full of people, full of the board members, community people of both teams, the coaching staff, our strappers, our physio. It was a big celebration. It was very good.
Right, fair enough. That's literally what Chippy said as well. So I was wondering if it was a different view to that. Obviously, you got your awards night coming up, so I'm assuming there's more celebrations to come.
Yep.
Later this week. But I guess tell us a bit about your coach, Steve Markham. Obviously, winning back-to-back premierships. Obviously, to continue his amazing coaching resume that he already has. Obviously, winning the Rogers Cup, now winning the League Cup twice in a row. Tell us a bit about Steve, and especially what have you learned from being coached under him?
I feel as I've learned that I'm actually able to play at this level at a great quality, and I definitely have the ability to keep pushing myself. He's definitely taught me more of the defensive role in the midfield, which I would never have known if I didn't make it to the next level. He's been really good with the group because he makes sure we all stick together and we try and do a lot of things together. And he's always very positive. There's barely any negative that comes out from him. It's always positive things. And every game we go into, I do feel as though he's a lot more nervous than a lot of us. But it's always good to see his emotions come through and just see how passionate he is with the team.
You did mention it 2 questions ago. How important does the support staff have been? I know I didn't actually mention it to Chippy, but I'm going to get you to hopefully tell us how important the support staff have been.
Oh, they've been absolutely important to not only us, but to the club. Without them, we wouldn't be able to go out and do our job and play football. They are able to set up everything, make sure we have water runners, make sure we have runner for all grades as well, make sure the facilities are well done, making sure we're bringing the correct uniform sometimes, making sure we stay hydrated. Our physios and our trainers as well have been absolutely amazing. especially trainers. They travel from Mandurah and Busselton pretty much every week to come and help us, and you need people like that at the club, and it's just amazing what they do for Peel, and just shows how much they love not only the club but us girls.
How did you get involved in football, and why did you choose it?
So my dad is a big football player for East Fremantle, and they decided locally they were going to do a girls competition in 2017. And when he finished at East, he came down and he coached South Bunbury. And so I signed up with them for the first couple of games and really enjoyed it, loved it, had so much fun. The girls were great, the club was great. I only did a couple of games because I went travelling, but then the year after I did a full season, and again just loved it, thrived off it. Played another year down there before I had Ben come and speak to me in regards to playing for Peel, and he showed me around the first training, introduced me to Steve, and I haven't looked back since.
Now, you just mentioned also you played down in South Bunbury, which is funny enough. I just interviewed another player that's from South Bunbury just earlier today. Obviously, who actually won the league MVP, of course, the league best and fairest in Ella Smith, who obviously plays for a different club down at Claremont. So I need to ask you, have you ever played with her down at South Bunbury? And I'm assuming you went to the Wars night, as you mentioned, the league was night. I guess, how special was that to obviously yourself win a premiership from South Bunbury? And obviously to have the Claremont captain also win the league best and fairest. What did that mean to both of you? And did you actually get a chance to speak to her at awards night?
So, yeah, we played together in 2018. We played the full season together, and I knew she was already a class above the whole competition. I knew she was going to be a great football player. Unfortunately for us, she decided to play for Claremont the following year, so didn't get to play with her then. But as soon as I came up and played against her the year after, always easy to talk to, always good to say hi. Then went to the awards night, and she gave me a special shout out. She, local, homegrown South Bunbury. So it was really, and I did get to speak to her after, and it's just amazing. Like, couldn't be prouder of her and what she's already achieved at such a young age as well. And can't wait to see what she does in the future.
Right, I'll make sure I speak to her about that. now I know that both you're from South Bunbury. Now I have to ask this one as well. You mentioned right at the start what position both obviously you play on the field. If you had a preferred position, we'd love to convince Steve to put you next year. Where would that be?
I'm pretty happy with where I am at the moment. I enjoy the midfield and the midfield position. If, say, all the midfield roles were really taken and I really wanted to push for something else, I would probably try and join the amazing backline wall that we have set up. But I'm pretty happy in the midfield.
That's fair enough. Now, what does the sport of football mean to you, and especially being there at Peel, and especially winning 2 premierships already?
It really means a lot to me because I watched my dad play, and I was able to watch my brother play, and I really wanted to play myself, but I couldn't because there wasn't a women's comp down here. I never knew that there was a comp in Perth, never heard of any of the state programs or anything like that. So I pretty much diverged into the basketball side of things. And then when the comp came in 2017, I played, and I've just loved it ever since and haven't looked back and enjoy every moment of it. And I think it's really good how far women's footy is going and improving every time. And I just can't wait to see what the future brings. It's already brought me a premiership down with South, and it's brought me 2 premierships with Peel. And I know we don't like to look too far into the future, but I think this team is definitely a team that can grab a couple more if we stick together and if we play as we have been.
Now, the question you posed a really good question I'm going to ask you based on that response. I guess, will it be great to, see your team play against the best of the best against the interstate teams?
It would be interesting to see where we actually place against the best teams around the country, even, because if we don't know if we're the best in the country, we won't know what we need to improve on. Like, it'd be really cool to see if we are the best of the best, or if we're on par with all the other states, or, if we need to improve in other places. It would be really fun to just see where we are at as a team.
Now, what will be your advice to people, especially in the lower southwest, that should get involved in football, especially there at Peel, or even down at your local club down there at South Bunbury?
Just give it a crack, I think, because you never know where it could take you. I think if you don't try it, you'll never find out. And I know some people want to always be the best, but you can't always be the best, unfortunately. And I mean, as long as you can be your best, then why not have a shot? So.
Now, obviously, there was a fantastic photo of you and your family after the grand final. How important have they been throughout your football journey, especially as you mentioned your dad played at, obviously, East Fremantle. Obviously, your brother played as well. How important has your family been?
They've been really the rock for me. They've been absolutely supportive of everything that I've doing or done. I always come home to Mum's home-cooked dinner. It helps me so much because sometimes I don't get home till 9 o'clock. Dad gives me that little bit of advice that he can, and I do try and take it on board, even if he thinks sometimes I don't, but I do try and listen. And then, my siblings always just say how proud they are of me and, keep encouraging me to keep going out. And it's just, I feel so much love, and I just really, it gives me encouragement to keep going.
Now, let's finish up with a couple of lighthearted questions as well. Firstly, before I go about your teammates, now you mentioned that you have a brother that plays a sport. Now, I can see you've won 3 premierships already. I have to ask, who's the better footballer out of you two?
This question does get thrown around a little bit. A lot of people like to, a lot of people say, you're the better Bilcich. No, you're the better Bilcich. Gets thrown a bit. But I'm not going to be biased, but I think I'm the better Bilcich at the moment. He might say otherwise. But I think I'm just up above him at the moment.
That's fantastic. That's the answer we wanted to hear. Now let's talk about your teammates. Who had the most embarrassing moment on the field this season, and what was it?
Oh, that's a bit of a hard one because I don't think we've had too many embarrassing, not from the team. I mean, there's one, our first game of the season, I'll remember this because we just had the Premiership flag revealed, just to say we won it from last year against East Fremantle, we're setting up. And Cassie, she says we're going to the left. So we're like, oh, cool. So all our defenders start running to the left and all our offenders start running to the right. And one of the defenders, Demi, she goes, I'm pretty sure she's a defender as well. What am I doing? What if they just changed it up? And then our whole forward line and back line have had to do a full switch before the first ball up because Cassie pointed the wrong way. And that was our start to the first round of the season.
This question is the follow-up. Did East Fremantle do the same thing?
They just kind of looked at us like we didn't know what we were doing, or like we kind of were just so happy with our Premiership reveal. We're like, yes, let's go, we're ready. And we just didn't set up. I don't know what happened. She just pointed the wrong way. And she even ran the opposite way as she pointed. I don't know. We had to do a full switch. It didn't look good on live viewing, that's for sure.
No, it wasn't. I saw that. Oh, I'm surprised Chippy didn't mention that.
It's because she had to start at the back, I reckon, so she didn't want to talk about her running all the way down to all the way back. And
that's fair enough. Now, who's the comedian, the best singer, and the best dancer on the team? Now, I said this to Chippy. I'm going to say this to you as well. If you don't include Kate Bartlett in any of these answers, I'm sure she's going to get you at awards night.
Yeah, I feel as though Kate, though, is the one who encourages everyone. She's like, yes, do it. You can do it. I don't know whether she likes to step up and take the role. I think she's the encourager. Comedian, we all like to have our moments, but I think I'd have to give it to Whitney Benson. She definitely has the best funny bone, I reckon, and is not afraid to write a major poem about everyone's mistakes to laugh about before a game. She gets the music blaring. Best singer, though. Not many people sing. Oh, Gracie. I'll give it to Gracie Fenton. Yes. She likes to think she's the best singer, even though she might not be, but all she does is sing so much, and everyone just ends up joining in. And best dancer, maybe Aisha. She's a bit of a quiet achiever, but catch her all the time throwing some dance moves, and she loves it. I love it. So good.
Now, funny enough, we got Whitney on the show a little bit later on, so I will make sure I answer that question.
If she doesn't say that I'm the best dancer, then we might have a serious thing I'm going to have to talk to her about on Prezzo night.
Right, I'll see what she says, and I'll let you know how that goes down. Now we'll finish up this last two, which is, do you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
Sometimes I like to watch games before I play myself, whether it's the game beforehand or whether it's in the morning, just like a replay game. I do recently have picked up that we win, or I play really, really good when I have sushi for lunch and the choc milk. I don't know why. It's just been coincidental. But yeah, otherwise I usually like to watch games before my game.
And the last one I'm going to ask you is, who has the best nickname in the team?
Chippy's pretty good because of the back story behind it.
Yeah.
It's got to be Chippy. I don't think anyone has a major standout nickname that doesn't even start with any of their names. Like Chippy's just Chippy because of the back. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Chippy.
Good choice, because that's exactly what she said herself. So, and she has told us the backstory. So I know exactly what you're talking about telling the backstory. Well, Ebony, thank you so much for giving up your time to join us. It's awesome having you on the show. From all of us here at Smash FM, congratulations on winning the back-to-back premiership against Swans Districts, and let's hope this time next year you can make a bit of a three-peat and start a bit of a dynasty and they're in the Southwest.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me, and hopefully we'll catch up with you same time next year.
Correct. And of course, that is Ebony there joining us there from the Peel Thunder. Of course, back-to-back WAFL W champions, of course, being Swan Districts by a very similar margin as they did it in the previous year against Subiaco. Of course, if you want to get down there and support the Mighty Thunder in 2022 WAFL W season, we'll put all the details up once the fixtures are up for the following year. There's more on the Smash Sport Show right after this. Don't go away here on the 10th year celebration.